Welcome to Half 2-4. Today in the show, Tottenham escaped relegation and instantly blows up the market with 2 super transfers, while Liverpool tearfully bids farewell to its legend. Xabi Alonso sets a strict ultimatum to the bosses of Chelsea over a leader for 75 million euros. Also today, Manchester United is preparing a crazy storming of Madrid for 100 million, and a real managerial apocalypse breaks out in Milan, where Zlatan Ibrahimovic expels Allegri and takes absolute power. We talk about all this and much more right now. The Premier League is officially completed, and Arsenal waited 22 years for this championship. And when it finally arrived, it turned out that there was no revolutionary plan. Arteta just took what he already had and added exactly as much as was needed, no more. Let us start with the most ridiculous record of the season. 18 goals from corners, more than any team in all 34 years of the Premier League's existence. But the most important thing is not the quantity. 13 of these goals put Arsenal ahead. That is, a corner for the Gunners is not a set piece. It is a weapon that breaks matches. Nicholas Jover, the set-piece coach who was brought in back in 2021, turned out to be the transfer of the decade. And nobody noticed it. Now the defense, 26 conceded goals, 19 clean sheets in the first 37 rounds, but the most interesting figure, 0.74 XG per game against the best indicator in the league. The second city with 1.1. That is, the difference between the first and second place in terms of defensive reliability is colossal. Raya, Saliba, Gabriel, White, Timber, this foursome simply did not let anyone play. And finally, Tchouameni, the signing for 60 million, which everyone argued about in the summer. Now in tandem with Rice, he provided Arsenal with the best axis in the league. Arteta said, look at how they complement each other in that space. It makes the team absolutely unpredictable. He knew what he was doing. Another change, transitions. Arsenal surrendered some ball control this season and instead began cutting opponents open in counterattacks. 2.7 direct attacks per game, the highest rate in the entire Arteta era. Fewer passes for the sake of themselves, more passes for killer through balls. Pep Guardiola would not approve. But Arteta is a student who has long outgrown the teacher. Do you know what wins you over most in this championship? Arteta did not break the system. He did not panic after 3 second places in a row. He just improved pinpointedly every time, a corner here, a transition there, one correct signing in the midfield. This is the smartest way to build a champion. Not explosively, surgically. And now his name is forever alongside Chapman, Miners, and Wenger in the history of Arsenal. While other European giants were unfolding their scouting nets, Tottenham, which just guaranteed itself survival in the EPL for the next season, decided to play ahead of the curve. The final whistle of the championship had not even had time to cool down yet, and the Spurs are already laying the first stone in the rebuilding of the defense and closing the transfer of Marcos Senesi from Bournemouth. Reliable insider Matteo Moretto confirmed there is already a verbal agreement between the parties, and the London club is actively preparing a contract for 4 years for the 29-year-old Argentine center back. While Liverpool, Juventus, Barcelona, and Chelsea were only studying shortlists and conducting sluggish negotiations, Tottenham just came and lightning fast bypassed all the tops of Europe. And now look what a brilliant business hacking is hiding here if you unfold this context layer by layer. The contract of Senesi with Bournemouth expires on June 30, 2026, which means that Tottenham takes an experienced left-footed defender, adapted to English football, absolutely for free as a free agent. And this is despite the fact that once the Cherries laid out 15 million euros for him to Feyenoord. Why such haste? Everything is perfectly transparent. The leader of the defense of the Spurs, Cristian Romero, will leave the team this summer with a huge probability. Fabrizio Romano wrote back in March that Cuti has serious chances to leave London, and Barcelona and Atleti are already fighting for him. The cost of this transfer will be a minimum of 60 million. Therefore, an Argentine replaces an Argentine. The free Senesi closes the position, and the club receives a clean profit from the sale of Cristian Romero. My opinion? This is an extremely sober, pragmatic and correct step from the management of Tottenham. Instead of entering the summer with a huge hole in the defense after the portfolio loss of Cristian Romero, the Spurs resolved the deficient issue even before the official opening of the transfer window. This is the first clear signal that while the team was heroically saving itself from relegation, the recruitment was not panicking, but clearly doing its homework for the perspective. Senesi is reliable, unyielding in duels, with an excellent first pass. He is not a superstar, but it is an ideal foundation for a club that is starting a big rebuild from a clean sheet. The question is only in one thing. Will this transfer be enough so that the next season does not turn into the exact same nightmare of a struggle for survival? While Tottenham is closing the deal regarding Senesi, another transfer bomb arrived from the left flank of the defense. The legendary Andy Robertson, the captain of the Scotland national team and the embodiment of the golden era of Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, becomes a free agent this summer. Negotiations about his move to the camp of the Spurs are already advancing at a breakneck speed. Literally last Sunday, after the match against Brentford, the teammates at Liverpool arranged an emotional living guard of honor for him at Anfield, sending the defender off with tears in his eyes after 9 years of frantic devotion and a bunch of trophies. And already today, Andy is packing his bags for London. Let us look at the facts. Robertson is 31 years old. His contract with the Merseysiders expires on June 30, 2026. And at Liverpool, he earned around £160,000 a week. Tottenham takes him absolutely for free, completing already the second zero-cost transfer in one summer. But let us be without illusions. This season, the Scotsman played only 19 matches in the Premier League. Age takes its toll, and he lost the competition to Kirkes. Injuries became more frequent, and this is certainly no longer that reactive left-back of the 2019 model, who stably handed out 12 assists per season. The Spurs perfectly understand that they are taking not a peak superstar for running along the flank, but an incredible experience, character, and leadership for a broken dressing room. Since a vacuum appeared on the left in the defense of Tottenham, the partnership of Robertson plus Senesi instantly creates a new experienced core. An Argentine and a Scotsman in one defense sounds like the beginning of a good joke, but in reality, this is a very solid foundation for a big rebuild. Tottenham, in a matter of days after saving itself from relegation, signs two proven fighters from the EPL for whom it will not pay a single cent to other clubs. Zero expenses on transfers, maximum sense for budget optimization. This is absolutely not like the chaotic convulsions of a club that just almost flew out to the championship. On the contrary, it looks like a sober calculation of the management, which finally understood that rebuilding needs to be done wisely, step by step, and with surgical precision. The main question now is in something else. Will this cold mind and financial flexibility be enough for the rest of the summer transfer window? While Catalan fans dreamed of a new mega-loud signing and attack, Chelsea put up a reinforced concrete shield around its main star. Barcelona came to the Londoners with a specific request regarding Joao Pedro, but received a short and maximally harsh no. Reliable insider Ben Jacobs made public the information that the Blues categorically refused to sell their leader. The interest of the Blaugranas to the forward is indeed substantial. The first exploratory talks even took place between the parties, but the bosses of the Londoners put up a wall around the Brazilian. The position of Chelsea is steadfast. There is no such sum that will make them change their decision. And even if Barcelona decides to go crazy and sends an official proposal with a world record in the history of football, the answer will still be negative. Let us look at the numbers in context so that you understand why the Londoners went for such uncompromisingness. Chelsea last summer bought Joao Pedro from Brighton for €63.7 million and tied him with a cosmic 8-year contract until 2033. The guy is 24 years old now. And this season, he produced 15 goals and 5 assists in the Premier League, becoming the top scorer of the team in all tournaments with 19 goals. That is, in a season when the Blues managed to change 3 managers and shamefully finished in 10th place in the league, the only thing that worked stably and brought results was the Brazilian under number 20. Selling such a player now, when his market value fluctuates from 68 to 84 million euros, is like throwing away the only working part from a broken mechanism with your own hands. But now attention to the most important factor, why this transfer is impossible in principle. Xabi Alonso came to Chelsea, and he is now building a completely new team for himself. The Spaniard agreed to lead this chaos only on one specific condition to the management. All transfers, every sale and purchase pass exclusively through his personal approval. The bosses of the club fulfill this condition unquestioningly. Alonso absolutely does not care how many millions Barcelona is ready to lay out on the table and what records to draw in checks for his new project. Joao Pedro is a fundamental, untouchable player. Xabi builds a system around the best, and he will not let the Brazilian go under any circumstances. I think this is an extraordinarily strong and mature step, which proves that Chelsea, with the arrival of Alonso, has finally outgrown the status of a chaotic supermarket for European giants. Barcelona is used to getting stars through clever installments, discounts, or barters, using its loud name. But here is a different story. A coach with a clear vision rules in London now. The player has a long contract, and the club demonstrates iron discipline in management for the first time in a long time. Putting a harsh block on the transfer of the leader despite the financial appetites of Barcelona is a sign of Chelsea's return to the big game. It is better for the Catalans to close this notebook right away, because under Xabi Alonso, the London doors are locked for them on all bolts. Manchester United, on the horizon, it seems, has finally decided on its main transfer dream for the summer and is ready to go on a real financial assault. Fabrizio Romano blew up the information field with the news. The bosses from Old Trafford see an ideal reinforcement in the Real Madrid midfielder Aurelien Tchouameni. The management of the Red Devils believes that the 26-year-old Frenchman is capable from the very first day to give the team a colossal impulse and close the midfield anchoring zone for years ahead, repeating the unique Casemiro-like impact of the times of his move from Madrid. The price of the issue is astronomical, because any potential deal regarding the midfielder will cost significantly more than 100 million euros. And now let us dive into the context and real facts that make this transfer a task with an asterisk for the recruitment department of United. Tchouameni is bound to the Royal Club by a long-term contract that runs until June 30, 2028. And his clean salary in Madrid is around £10.4 million a year. Moreover, insiders from the entourage of the Blancos state in one voice: Real Madrid considers Aurelien an untouchable element of its long-term project. Right now, the Spanish giant does not even think about a sale and is preparing a proposal for the Frenchman about a contract extension with a solid increase in salary. Manchester United received no signals about open doors from Madrid, so the bosses of the Devils will have to not just lay out crazy money, but literally break the system to convince Florentino Perez. I think Tchouameni is indeed an elite, deficient option that would instantly turn the imbalanced midfield of MU into a monolith in tandem with Xabi Mainu. His physical power, reading of the game, and experience of big matches are exactly what is needed to replace Casemiro. But a sum of over 100 million euros for a player whom the owner club categorically refuses to let go looks like another beautiful but low-realizable fairy tale. While Real Madrid closes all the bolts, Manchester United risks spending too much time hunting for a shadow. If the Madrilenians do not change anger to mercy, then it is better for the English to timely switch attention to more grounded and available options in the EPL, so as not to be left at the start of the season with a broken trough in the defensive midfield zone. A real managerial apocalypse has officially begun in Milan, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic found himself in the very epicenter of this explosion. Just recently, the Rossoneri lived through one of the most shameful pages in their modern history, managing in the last round of Serie A to lose at home to Cagliari with a score of 1-2, completely fly past the Champions League, and finish outside the top four. Immediately after the final whistle, infuriated Tifosi blocked the stadium, and Zlatan himself was escorted to the parking lot of San Siro under guard. But the club owner, Jerry Cardinale, instead of showing the Swede the door, decided to go all in. He announced a total revolution in Casa Milan, dismissed the entire directorate, and transferred absolute power to Ibrahimovic and his trusted associate Calvelli. Zlatan becomes the single frontman of the new Milan and will now personally decide who will be the new chief executive, new sporting director and head coach for the season 2026-27. In fact, Ibrahimovic has already started the cleanup and first of all kicks out his main enemy from the club, Massimiliano Allegri, whose appointment was once lobbied by Inghilterra. The conflict between the Swede and the Tuscan coach blazed for several months, and after the disaster with Cagliari, Zlatan, at a night meeting with Cardinale, put forward a tough ultimatum, accusing the coach of a lack of attacking play and a total failure in relations with Rafael Leao and Christian Pulisic. Along with the coach, Milan is left by chief executive Giorgio Furlani, sporting director Inghilterra, who lasted in office only 1 year, and chief scout Jeffrey Moncada. Zlatan completely cleared the field for himself to build a new vertical of power. But there is one huge and very strange nuance. While Casa Milan is burning in a fire of personnel changes, Italian media dug up that in June, Zlatan has absolutely no free time for the club at all. He signed a contract with Fox Sports and flies to the USA for a whole 40 days to work as a commentator at the World Cup, parallelly engaging in promotion as an ambassador of the technological company K-Sport. Therefore, Milan changed 4 coaches and a heap of directors in 2 years, missed the Champions League twice in a row, and now puts on Zlatan as the main architect of the revival. A person without an official position, without a sports manager diploma, but with a name, character, and a direct line to Cardinale. This is either a brilliant move or another Milanese chaos with a beautiful wrapping. I do not know what is worse yet.